Yo, yo, yo. What's up, guys? Uh, let's see. Okay, cool. Alright. Where is it? Okay. Where is it? Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. Now we can go. Now we can get started finally. Excuse me. I'm a little bit tired. I'm getting a new setup soon, so that should be nice. I just realized I have been on a black screen this entire time. That's nice. Cool. I absolutely love that. There we go. Is it? There we go. It doesn't really matter that much, but I just like it to be centered. Centered at least correctly. Yo, what's going on, guys? How are you? Yeah. I need to still plant these just because I might as well. Until I actually need them, and then I can just take them all anyway. Kind of just like a growing area anyway, so if I need them, I can just take them back. It's cool. I can just put them wherever I want, really. Where'd it go? Oh, I have it. Okay. Okay. What do I need? Is that a shipwreck? Okay. What's that? Oh, some bones. Okay, free. Oh, it's just 3. Okay. Well, better than nothing. And just quickly, might as well do this. Alright, there we go. Okay, have I done this one before? Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, I have. Never mind. Why do I have so much crap on me? Oh, I was going around mining. I forgot about that. Okay, why is the fucking music so loud? It does not have to be that loud. I can be loud, but music off. G-Bucks and those friendly creatures. Everything at half. There we go. Hungry. What is this? Ooh. Oh right, I forgot. Yeah, I ran into some creature and I almost died last time, and I just kind of quit. I am a little bit of a quitter here sometimes. That's not new. So loud. Which one? What the fuck is fluorite? Get this. Do I have... We're typing loud? Oh. Yeah, there's not really much I can do about that. Wait. Am I stupid? I think there is. Still hit a staff? No, that's just old. That was like 2022, I think. I forgot to take it out. What the fuck is it called? Oh. GeForce. There's a voice. No. What's it called? Oh, RTX voice. RTX. Or is it RTX voice? Okay. Previous. Yeah, you should apply for it then. They say the experience doesn't really matter in the application. It's just that it'd be nice. It's nice to have. It's not like required, I think, from what I saw. Raw uranium, yummy. Oh, that's what I was missing there. Actually, I'm gonna put that there instead. We're gonna put that there. Okay, cool. Let's go to Sleepy Pie. You want to go to bed at night? It's pretty much night. Okay. I guess not. Oh, right. Okay. What do you do for GB? Admin. Hopefully I don't have to restart to install broadcast. Alright, let's see. If I have to restart, I'm not gonna restart. Do you have an admin card? No. I'm not cool. Oak sapling. Okay, I'm gonna take that. Where the fuck can I put this so it won't be in the way? No clue, man. I don't really keep up to date anymore. Yeah, I mean, I have a full-time job now, basically, so try as I can. I'm not very put this there. Community management and content moderation now, which is pretty cool because that's pretty much my dream job. Just not at dream pay. Hello there, Kazvev. You get paid at least? Not at GV, but the thing I do. The content moderation and the community management. It's at $15 an hour right now. I say right now because it's probably going to be increased. Until more like 25, but it's pretty decent for what it is. Especially since I don't have to go anywhere. Yeah, it's remote. I apply, you can't. I just found it on Indeed. It's a quote-unquote like real job, not some Discord thing. Well, content moderation is, but community management is actually on Discord. Yeah, there's a lot of community manager jobs right now. On Indeed, on LinkedIn, on Glassdoor, pretty much all of those sites. But some are better than others. Like, avoid the ones that want you in person, even if they pay like $1 billion. Because those are not actual community manager jobs. Those are just like something that someone thought is a community or whatever. I don't know how to explain it. Okay, this is annoying me. I'm just gonna take all this. At least they're already plants for me. That's good, nice. Jeez. Oh, this is ready too. That's nice. Now I need to increase my actual farm size. Oh, that's annoying, but it doesn't replant that? Peanut. I could probably stop at the strawberries. What about the corn? I could probably stop at the corn too. For now. How many hours? Right now it's only like it's not full time yet, but it's more like last week was like 24. I don't need those strawberries, so just take them out. Oh, damn it. Tomato. Okay. Green beans? No. I don't need that. Not bad, yeah. It's a lot better than nothing, which is what I was going with earlier. Actually, I'm just gonna make this all wheat, because why not? Instead of making it all something else instead. Weeds? Grr. I'll still keep these just in case somebody might want them. It's out of the way, the weeds. What is this? Carrots? Oh, these should be somewhere else. Should just be randomly right there. I'm just gonna make this all wheat. This area at least. I can figure it out from there. I swear, this was... What is happening? I think... Yeah, I think we're now good to expand more. As long as it's earth and clay, this should be good. That's grassy sand, so take that out. None of that. Oh right, I forgot. I need to make it water. Oh. What am I doing? I can just make an infinite water source right here. I'm so smart. Oh. No. Okay, well at least it didn't like all my crops. Is that earth and clay? Yes it is. Okay, cool. Let's not waste any more of my hoe. This is annoying, but it's only gonna have to be done once after I do it all. So that's the plus side, at least. Minecraft needs tracksuits for this. This isn't even Minecraft. This is like 100% modded. Usually all you do is you put a block like in between here, and then you just put a water bucket there, and it does the area. But I'm just lazy, so I'm gonna do it like this, plus a smart area space. Not by much, but still. That's funny. I'm actually supposed to be working right now on the content moderation job, but I got flexible hours, so it doesn't really matter when I start. I'm just supposed to start. As long as I get 4 hours today, I'm good. I already have 1 hour, so not the end of the world. Let's get this out of here. Oh, I should. What am I doing now? Oh yeah, I need torches down immediately because the monsters that spawn here are not to be dealt with lightly. Let's just say that. So the more torches I have down, the better. There's no wasting torches in this mod, because you'll see what I mean soon. First of all, hours shows, sounds like a dream, but the pay is amazing. Yeah, I said 15. It's not amazing, but it's better than nothing, which is what I was going off of earlier. Oh, 1 sec. Have to deal with something. Ironically, I have to deal with something in the community management thing. 1 sec. There we go. Money is money. Oh yeah. Dude, I bought a whole setup. I bought a whole cool setup for my online jobs now too. I have like I bought a bunch of SteelSeries equipment. Let's see. Okay, it's still downloading. Alright, let's sleep and then I'll get more of this liquid gold. That's my bed. By the way, do you like my house? It's so pretty. Right? It's so beautiful. I worked very hard on it, as you can tell. It's got the boxy design with a exterior Batiste design to it. With accents on the side, as you can see. Totally just not missing cobblestone. 15 hours? Hell no. It took at least 15 hours to start it. The base took 15 hours. I need another source of food other than bread. It'd be nice to get some animals, but that's a off in the future type of thing. Unfortunately. Okay, I'm gonna keep the carrots on me because I want the carrots later. But I'm gonna take everything else off. I really need like a place where I can put all my unwanted but kind of needed soon things. Because right now I'm just putting shit everywhere. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, no. 6, 7, 8, 9 ish. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. That's good, yeah. Cool. I'm kind of rich, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't even looted much. I'm kind of freaking epic and based and awesome. What am I doing? Oh, right. It's time to go get some more thingy-mabobbersons. And then keep one weight on me just in case I find any people I want to steal from. I should probably get a door. Yeah, I'm gonna get a door so I can have a pocket of air. That's a smart thing to do. I'm not gonna make a door. There it is. I'll keep 2. Oh, there's some right here. Oh, I have another shovel. Okay, I was about to say I should probably get another shovel, but I have one already. The thing about this is it's clay, so it's easy as sand to break. But it's still very good as a source. I might as well get some sand too, because I'm gonna actually build a house soon, probably. Because I found a village. I'm gonna move over there soon. So this area is just a temporary area, so I can't make it too big. Because the village is over there, all the way over there, so it's not really worth it to make an underground tunnel or anything to it. I might. Especially since it would not be worth it to make an overground tunnel. Maybe. I'll see. But yeah, for now, definitely just looking for some earth and clay, because then I can take it over with me. I need to destroy that whole, like, mountainside too, when it comes time. Is the music too loud? It was too loud last time, by the way. So I wouldn't doubt it. It's quiet on my side. I was wondering. It's the most random things down here. Like, what the hell is this? Salam alaikum, or any of your music this time? I didn't hear music. You can't hear my music? Yeah, you should be able to hear it. Alright, NVIDIA broadcast. Let's see if that helps with the typing. Skip. Done. Oh, maybe I'll just turn it up a little bit then. Let's see. You hear it now? Oh, what the hell? Why is it breaking so fast? Okay, now it's a little bit too loud. There we go. Yeah, by the way, this is why I'm not destroying it on my property, because there's so much of The ones that are completely bogged down with water. It just spews out water every time you break it. There it is. Is there anything down there? No. Cool. I wonder if I can get rid of this. Okay, I can. That's better. At least now it won't be in the way. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. I probably need at least 5 stacks. Maybe. I might just be fine with the stack that I have right now. Honestly, I'm not sure. I think I might be fine with a stack for now. Let's see. Can I find any other clay? Let's see. It'd be so nice if there was some on this side where I could easily mine it without any consequences. Oh, there's some. I was just about to say. I wonder if there's a way to get multiple out of the same one in this mod. I don't think so. That'd be a little bit too OP. Dude, that's so OP. Is that? It keeps on throwing me off. I keep on thinking that's like diamond. I don't know why. That's why I'll get some coal. Is this? No. Oh wait, this is what you get in this mod. Like, I don't even know. This is the stupidest mod. Alright, stack and a half, about 2 stacks. Yeah, that should be fine for now. Should be able to expand the farm basically by 2. Don't even know what's happening, yeah. I don't really have a clue either. I'm just kinda going with it. All I know is clay good. Perfect. And let me see if I have any more clay. Well, I'm at it, at least. No. 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 Sleepy time. No sleepy time? That's sad. No sleepy time? I thought it was sleepy time. Oh, I wonder if I can make emerald armor. It'd help if I could spell it. What can I make with emeralds? Not really much. Alright, whatever. I don't need. It's almost 12 a.m. and I'll see ya. I might as well sleep here. Okay. Oh yeah, I think I completely overshot my estimate there. Yeah, this would be perfect. I don't need it huge. I just need it to work for now. And I can do that, and it should help speed up the process. What day is it in this world? Let's see. I have absolutely no idea how to check. I guess I should see how to make a better backpack also. So I'm gonna do that. Let's see. I can spell that correctly at least. Infinity backpack. No, how about just a normal backpack? Small backpack is a small backpack and leather wool. Oh, yeah, that's gonna be hard. That's like the two main things I don't have. Of course. Of course. Why wouldn't it be? I don't think I've ever actually seen a cow. Or like any real like livestock. So I guess I'm gonna go have to find some. Well, I'm not gonna find any in the fucking desert. That's a great idea there, Mr. Yo-Yo. I know, I'm like a total genius, right? Probably should be out this way. If I could find one out this way, then it should be easy to bring it back. Maybe I should bring a bed though. Oh, it'd be so nice if I could just find a cow. Because then I can start working on getting I could start working on getting my enchantment table, so I can actually do real enchantments versus like sharpness 1, which is totally useless to me. These are like amplified biome. There's probably not going to be anything here. That's annoying. I'm gonna hope though. I have an idea of where it might be. It might be over here. I don't think they spawn here though. They spawn in like grasslands and shit. And plus, even if I do, oh, okay, come on. Even if I do find some, I don't think it's gonna be a fun time trying to get them back home, especially since there's gonna be 2 of them. In the realistic world, I hope there will be 2. Crusty Earth and Clay, it's right there, but I gotta focus on my other thing. I think I'm going the wrong way for animals. I just do like a whole 180. I should find some shit. Let's see if I can avoid the village. I mean, not the village. Let's see if I can avoid these mountains. That might not be possible. Also, I'm gonna have to go back home soon because I do not want to find out that I need to come back to this area. I might be cheating a little bit. I'm trying to look at my mini map to see what the hell is that? Worthless little shit. Okay, so the gray ones are fine. So I wonder what these are. Oh, more fucking bullshit, whatever that is. Where are the real ones? Oh shit. I'm about to find out what it's gonna be like tonight. That's gonna be fun. Where's my house? It's all the way back that way, of course. So I'm just gonna keep going, honestly. I don't even have a chest plate. I forgot. This is gonna be really stupid. Feel free to laugh at me in chat when I die. Because I need a positive unreinforcement. Oh, wait, right. Wait a minute, hold on. Test, test, test. Hold on. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Alright. Alright, I think I fixed my audio issues. Hold on, let me see. Nope. Hold on. Filters. Nope. Properties, I think. Video broadcast. Oh, there we go. There we go. Let me see on the live stream. Let me see on the live stream. I'm gonna test this a little bit because this is like really nice now. Let's see. Cool. Yeah, you guys can't hear my keyboard anymore at all. That's really nice, actually. Is there a bed here? No. Oh boy. I'm so bad. That means I gotta go forward. Where are you? Oh, shithead. Another rolling. Oh shit. Now it is really dark. And I pretty much failed my goal. And I fucked around and now I'm probably gonna find out. I'm ready though. I have all my good armor out. I don't know what the fuck happened to my good sword. It just like disappeared. Maybe I should go mining. Well, going outside isn't an option right now. Ooh, this is a good mine actually. What the hell? This is just a random mine I just found right now. Okay. That works. Anything down there? Doesn't look like it. So that's good. Oh yeah, there's things down there, but not at a point where I care. Might be a good distraction for nighttime. Nah. Screw it. Let's see if I can make it to the village, because then I can see what I'm gonna be doing from there. This is gonna be a bad idea. I can already tell. I'm getting that feeling. Oh, yep. I'm ready to bucket clutch if I have to. Just as long as I don't find a Nightmare Stalker, I should be totally fine. And now I willed it into existence. Nice. Oh yeah. Okay. 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 Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Oh, God. Honestly, it's safer in this cave. That ends. Not really ends, but you know. I'm completely fucked. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Fuck you. Piece of shit. Bob or Minecraft. We were talking about it last stream. Yeah. Look at this music is annoying. There we go. Bro, I'm gonna be a freaking epic gamer. Watch me die. What the fuck happened to my sword? Fuck you, 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 fuck you. Okay. Little bastard, little fucking bastard, die. Fuck off. Let's see what's in this cave. Oh. A corpse fly. That's not what I was looking for. Oh, it looks like it's daytime almost. I'm trying to switch between streaming and doing work. I'm trying to see if there's a good what the fuck is that? Oh hell no. But yeah, I'm trying to see if there's a good balance I can do. The only fucking pig in the world is right there, of course. Hello. Hello. At this point, I might fucking spawn in a pig. Oh, there's two right here. Oh, these fuckers. Oh, what the fuck is that? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh no. No way, Hunter. Yeah, bro, I'm pretty much famous. Yeah, I know, Hunter. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Hunter was pretty much my fan. Oh, there's beds up here. Oh, right. There's beds, but I can't fucking sleep in them. There's a billion monsters. Wait, what am I doing? I can move the bed. Am I stupid? Yes, but that's besides the point. Yeah, 100 totally wants to hear that you're applying for QA tester. Bro, there's a monsters nearby. Where? Oh, hello. Are you the monster that was nearby? Monster, how should I feel? Creatures lie here, right into the window. Monster, how should I feel? Oh, I can sleep now. Sleepy Beaky Lake. Okay. I can actually just sleep. Okay, cool. Is there anything in here that I didn't want last time that's useful now? No. Fucker. Wolfie! Kill. Kill. Fuck you, fuck you. Little Wolfie died. So sad. I cry every time. Yeah, Hunter, what are you up to? Tell us right now. Otherwise, I will cry. Fuck you. Watching the stream. Whoa. New information there. Valid, yeah. Absolutely wild information. I didn't see the full fucking circle. Oh my god. I wonder if the fucking annoying ass pigs are still there. I don't even have any carrots. Bro, oh my god, I keep on pressing Q. Where did my sword go? You saw that, right? Oh, there it is. Oh, I must have pressed the auto shortcut for it to go into my backpack. That'd be annoying during battle. Just put my sword away. Raw earth shun. I don't want the raw earth. %, buddy. I'm just being real with him, Hunter. Don't worry, I got you. Oh my god. I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer. Holy guacamole. I'm like freaking gaming. I'm going up the stairs. Whoa. 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 Freaking gaming. Whoa. Whoa. Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit blunt now. I'm on some things that help me with my sad boy. So now I'm just blunt. And that includes that. Maybe a little bit of everything that I got. All the systems. Oh, what the hell is that? What in the world is that? What the heck? Oh, that's just village. I already know that exists. Is that a... No, it's just an annoying fucking thing. Is there anything fucking useful? Like, I don't know. There's bees. I don't want bees. Bees don't produce meat. Grr. Grr. More bees. Wow. Do you want bees, and more bees? Well then, this is the biome for you. Along with random iron. That's like the only good thing of this biome. Oh, that's an 8 vein. Nice. Oh, 9. 9! Oh, oh, more. Oh, more. Oh, more. Nice. 35, but I haven't even gone into a cave much. Oh, yo. That's a good tree. Hashtag burpees. Where the hell am I? Am I jump? Oh, here I am. Ooh, more iron. Ooh, a lot more iron. Okay. Oh, more iron. When you come home, looks like a stack of iron at this point. Where it already are. Yeah. 50. Nice. I mean, if I see it, I'm not gonna avoid it. But... oh, I can mine this now. Let's get a few stacks of this. Actually. Cause this is a little bit valuable, especially when it's not, full of water. Because if it was full of water right now, I would have to be like underwater right now to mine all of this, so it's pretty valuable right now. I could get a few stacks, that would be nice. Oh yeah, it looks like there's plenty of stacks on stacks on stacks on racks on stacks. I guess mobs don't spawn on these. Well, all the bad ones spawn on these, of course. They spawn on pretty much anything you want. I have... how many stacks now? A lot. Get rid of all these seeds. I don't need whatsoever. Okay, let's get a few more of this, and then I can actually go back on my stupid search for whatever the fuck I was looking for at this point. I don't remember. Oh yeah, animals. It's annoying that I have to go all the way out of my way for an animal, but... I suppose it could be worse. That's for sure. I could be stuck on an island with very hard mobs that spawn at night. Get it? That's called foreshadowing. I'm not very good at it. How many stacks do I have now? I got a bunch of stacks. Hell yeah. Okay, 4, 6. Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted pretty much. Now, time to go to bed before they start spawning out of fucking nowhere. Ugh. Ooh, my Shure microphone is arriving soon. Freaking epic! Oh my goodness, H gracious. I'm getting like a whole setup for my new area I'm putting up. I got like a really nice stand-up L desk and new keyboard, a SteelSeries keyboard, SteelSeries headset, Shure microphone, and like a nice chair. So it's all coming together pretty nicely. And surely I'll be employed long enough for it to be put to use. Surely, right? Okay, let's make a point of avoiding the shit I don't need to visit. Here we go. I think I have to travel somewhere. Oh, this one. Okay, I'm gonna cheat a little bit because I've found nothing. Oh, kitty! I don't have any fish. Oh. I need to start my setup also, yeah. I had an okay setup for the longest time. This is just for my work area. I already have like I have a Blue Yeti for my gaming area and really good PC for like my gaming stuff. I'm just gonna make it like a separate thing for everything else. Sorry, I need to keep checking because I get messages from clients every so often. I might have to end early today because I still have about 3 hours left of work. And technically I can work any time, but I should get that out of the way. Oh, wait a minute. Fletcher. Emeralds for arrows. Okay. That's a good deal, actually. Yeah, because I need arrows, and this fella has what I need. What time zone? I'm PST. So it's 5:08 right now. Oh, there's an emerald in here. More arrows. Hello, good sir. I want to purchase one of your finest arrows, please. Emeralds for shears. Gray wool for an emerald. No. If it was wool for nothing, that would be good. Wheat for an emerald. I have wheat, but... Oh, actually, no, I don't have wheat. That's fine. There's stuff nearby, but... Mason... Maybe. It's a good sign that these guys haven't died yet, because that means... There's good protection around here. Oh right, I already looted this area, I think. But I should start to wall this off whenever I seriously move here, because I'm gonna be the guy that's gonna start getting them killed. Accidentally, of course, but yeah. Okay. Oh, but look, since I'm playing Minecraft, or does it still say I'm playing the crew? Because that's annoying. If not, Minecraft. Okay, that's good. Oh, I completely missed that. Thanks, Fast Life Minion. Okay, I have this. Yeah, you can't blame me for the follow. Oh hell yeah! Stealing all these. I need all these signs. I guess you could say it's a sign. Okay, I'll stop. Okay, now wait, and then you upgrade. What are the upgrades here? Okay, that's decent. Doesn't seem like there's a trade limit. Oh, there we go. Oh, I was about to say, 16 trades. That's pretty good. 9 for a book. Oh, that's pretty steep. What do you upgrade to? Oh, for a bow? Nah, I'm not interested. What about you, buddy? Oh, you're not even on wheat. You might be on wheat, though. Nope, you're on potatoes. That's fine. Oh. I completely missed this area. Pretty worthless. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, there is. Oh, yo, what the hell? Okay. I'll take that. Nice. Okay. I'm just taking the village's generational wealth. That's nice. Yeah, okay. 5:30 I'm probably gonna end. But this is some good progress. I might get back on tomorrow. Because I wake up early, from Wednesday to Sunday. I work tomorrow, so I'll try to join. Yeah, no problem, man. You don't have to join if you don't want to. Where the fuck did I put this? Oh, it's food. I keep forgetting what my slots are for, where I like self-diagnose where I want my slots. Oh, this is useful. Oh, it's just breaks. I thought that was something else. I've actually already been streaming for an hour and 15 minutes. I might actually... If I end here soon, I might actually go live again. My house is on fire. Oh yeah, I did that. Okay. What's this buddy doing? What are you doing, bro? Oh yeah, there's two villages. Okay. So... Yeah, let's just go this way. Actually, I think for now I'm gonna get off. I think I'm at a good stopping point. Oh my god. Okay. I see you alive, yeah, okay. Thanks. Tune in when I can, yeah. Yeah, no problem, man. Should be maybe even today. I don't know. It depends on how I feel, because I'm gonna have a few days where I can just stream without, like, I'm gonna have a few days where I can just stream without issues of me being too loud. Because that's like the main factor when I don't stream. So yeah. See you later. It's 8 for me EST, so it depends on when you stream. Yeah. I should stream earlier in the day, honestly, and then I can do my work at the same time. But yeah, see ya, fellas. Bye-bye.